Okay, let's jump in. Hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on our call today. We're super excited to talk more about what circularity looks like in South Africa. So we got lots to cover. To give you some background, I'm Ashley Wallace. I'm the content marketing manager at BanQu. And with me is my colleague, Warren. Warren, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone here?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Warren Owen. I have been with BanQu for a while now, and I'm currently looking after business development in South Africa and the African continent. Yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Warren. Yeah, Warren's a powerhouse. He's also an expert in this space, so we're going to be learning a lot from him today. Before we jump in, I just wanted to point out for all those watching that if you have any questions, please put them in the chat because we're going to be coming back to those at the end and asking some audience questions. So thanks, guys. But yeah, to just jump right in, Warren,
Sure.
we
Yeah,
just kind of love some background on what does circularity look like in South Africa and what role do businesses play?
sure thing, Ash. So the circular economy is playing quite a big and pivotal role in South Africa, and is really gaining traction and momentum at the moment, where we see more and more companies and sectors that are really embracing the opportunities that the circular economy presents, as well as taking on the responsibility, and they take it seriously. Industries, it's broad, but such as mining, agriculture, packaging, and waste are key examples of these types of industries. I think local South African companies are partnering with producer responsibility organizations, also known as PROs, and we'll touch on that quite a bit today, I'm pretty sure, to cover processes like EPR compliance, tracking waste end to end, collecting recyclables, and creating waste value chains. And I think more importantly, also doing so responsibly and sustainably.
That's great. Thanks, Warren. So
Sure.
I feel like we can't talk about circularity without talking about the waste pickers, right? Because they're at the heart of this. And
100%. Yeah.
especially like South Africa has 90,000 waste pickers. So they're huge in this space. And I'd love to hear more from you. What are some of the challenges that they might be facing? What do their lives look like? And what role do they play in this space?
Yeah, so you're quite right, Ash. It's 90,000 and growing. 90,000 that we're aware of. It's growing daily. So I think, the informal waste sector plays a critical role in circularity. Waste pickers, as we said, of which there are significant amounts in South Africa and Africa, and particularly Southern Africa, are the primary source for collecting recyclables. And this is across multiple materials. And previously, they had typically been invisible and unrecognized for their valuable role that they play in the circular supply chains. Not only did this have an impact on the waste collected, it has also negatively impacted companies and brands. So previously, it was also really expensive to maintain, with no real incentive to do so. It is extremely informal and unregulated, as we've discussed. Good news is of late, we've seen a big turnaround in this regard over the past few years, where this previously informal industry or sector is becoming increasingly formalized, standardized, and is growing all the time. I think the benefits and the value are very clear. So the waste collectors and the informal waste sector play an absolutely critical role.
So you were touching on regulations. How
Yeah.
are businesses like held accountable? How are waste pickers becoming more visible through these regulations? We'd love to kind of hear more what the regulatory landscape looks like.
Yeah, sure. So it's quite clear. So EPR, or extended producer responsibility regulations, mandate producers in South Africa. So, for example, brands, manufacturers, distributors of products or packaging materials to manage and finance the collection and recycling of post-consumer waste. I think it was around May in 2021. It was May 2021. EPR was actually mandated. So previously it wasn't, but it was officially mandated in South Africa through Section 18 of the National Environmental Management Waste Act, NEMWA, it's called. And this regulation established stringent targets and requirements for packaging producers to fund waste collection, sorting, and recycling. And producers are required to take full responsibility for the products that they place onto the market, including their post-consumer collection, sorting, and recycling. So who does this affect? Everyone, really. All brand owners, retailers, or importers of packaging in South Africa. And then how can you comply, which was a part of your question? Obviously, you need to register with the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and Environment, and then establish either an independent EPR scheme or join an existing PRO. That's the Producer Responsibility Organizations I referenced earlier, of which there are a number. These PROs, like Petco, Polyco, the glass recycling company, Circular Energy, etc., because these PROs are playing a really vital role in the process and can really assist you in your journey. Yeah.
So
that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. Thanks, Warren.
Great. Sure.
I'm curious, so how are businesses reporting? How does technology play a role in this, and how do businesses meet these targets and reporting requirements for EPR?
So that's a good question. So I think it's almost twofold there. So things like challenges, there are multiple challenges, obviously. So businesses, these challenges are things like implementing formalized systems, actually doing it formally. There's a lot of manual processes out there currently. So the formalized systems in the informal waste sector, which has traditionally been extremely, as I said, unstructured and largely manual. Also capturing real-time and verifiable and reliable data for reporting and forecasting purposes, also a huge challenge. And then being able to track volumes and value of waste across varied materials effectively has also traditionally been extremely difficult. So what role does technology play in that, you asked? Obviously, we biased, but technology plays a vital role in this regard. And while it's not the only solution, it really does go a long way in assisting in streamlining, automating, and consolidating the process, and really bringing all the key stakeholders together into one common platform. So I think the right technology will equip both producers and PROs with real-time insights to stay on top of their EPR targets and demand requirements. And another thing that's important to mention is technology also ensures that the process is fully verifiable, as I mentioned earlier, that it's safe, that it's secure, which is important, obviously, when it comes to a few things, but things like, payments and incentives, for example, it needs to be verifiable, it needs to be safe, and it needs to be secure. Yeah.
Really. It's cool because businesses can turn their waste streams into income streams now with that level of visibility. So that's key.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a profitable and really viable opportunity as opposed to previously just a challenge. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So speaking of opportunities and solutions, let's talk about BanQu. What is BanQu's role in this space, and what do our solutions look like?
Yeah. So the good news is, and obviously we're biased, but BanQu has been doing this for a long time. And BanQu can play an absolutely pivotal role in this regard as a full supply chain traceability platform. We are an example. We are working with several companies in waste management and recycling space, and the platform really allows you to capture and automate all of the required data, whether this is location-based metrics, socio-economic data, actual traceability, so the chain of custody, or reporting and dashboarding requirements. So throughout the waste, recycling, supply, and value chain. The data benefits that we can collect benefits all stakeholders in the process, obviously for varied reasons, whether this is to meet compliance or governance objectives, or whether it's empowering waste collectors and allowing them to really grow and build their small businesses, and to benefit thereof. It also integrates and connects all the supply chain participants, which is something that I referenced earlier, which was previously done manually. This includes waste pickers or waste collectors to a secure and transparent system for better supply chain control ultimately. And then obviously, I think also, where really effective technology solutions, and BanQu in particular, can also allow for integration where we can connect with different systems and different service providers. As an example, mobile money providers, which lends weight in supporting informal workers and enabling EPR compliance with the waste picker service fees and incentives, which are obviously cashless but can be paid out through technology and through the process within the platform automatically, and really automate that process. So I think there are a number of ways that BanQu can assist, but that should give you an idea of what we're doing in the market and in the space currently, and how we're working with a number of key entities out there. Yeah.
So much value. Businesses can just,
exactly.
They can really transform their companies. Like, I love that it's like not just about profit, which it is, but it's also about purpose, because you're helping these small businesses, but it's also helping your own. So thanks, Warren.
Exactly. Yeah, and we deeply driven by the purpose at BanQu, as you know, and it's helping the people and the planet. That's the people that matter most in the supply chain, and caring for the planet. That's our real mission, and purpose.
Yep, it's what drives us every day. Yeah,
that's it.
So there's actually one of our audience members is asking what are some real world examples? So like, what are some examples of the partners we're working with, Warren?
It's a good question. So happy to provide that. So I'll give you two examples. We're currently working with Petco and Coca-Cola, Petco being the PRO, and with the Coca-Cola company on a project called Project Up. And ultimately what Project Up, which has been extremely successful, I must say, is really focused on three things, which is aligned to what we've been discussing today, Ash, but formalizing and connecting the informal recycling sector, digitizing and streamlining the buying and selling of recyclables, and then really growing the volume of recyclable plastics that are purchased. So, Petco really is focused on plastic, and Project Up focuses on that significantly. So really bringing those three things into one platform, and we've seen a really good uptake with Project Up, and it's growing from strength to strength currently. And I think we'll provide, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we can provide, the links in the comments that can give you a little bit more information and give the audience a little bit more information on Project Up and how it works. But similar to that, we're also working with, which is the other case study, with Ardagh Glass and the glass recycling company, Ardagh Glass being the manufacturer and glass recycling company being the PRO. And then we also have a key partner in Cassie Cash, who is 6.50 on another really critical initiative called Money for Glass. And this is a similar use case to what I've referenced earlier, where we're formalizing connecting the glass waste, so glass and cullet collectors, into one platform, digitizing and the buying and selling of this cullet, which is obviously the material, and then ultimately with the aim of growing the volume and the value of the cullet market, and really driving consistency there. So bringing again and formalizing the informal recycling sector around glass, digitizing and streamlining, and then obviously growing and the volume of recyclable glass that has been purchased. The two examples of really good live initiatives. These are great case studies that are current and live in South African market and gathering momentum as we speak.
Now that's how you walk the talk. Let's go. That's awesome.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
exactly.
it's real world, right? This is happening, and it's
it's always evolving.
Yeah.
Always evolving, but yeah, they've been really good, successful projects and initiatives, and I would urge the viewers to go and take a look at them in a little bit more detail, because it's really good. We've actually got a really nice video that depicts the Money for Glass initiative and really explains it in a lot of detail. So yeah, have a look at that as well.
Yeah, I'll be sure to send those over to everyone watching, so you'll get access to those. This audience question is perfect to end on, so we'll wrap up with this. But
Sure.
one of our audience members is wondering, what can the rest of the world learn from South Africa's circular economy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's some good lessons from the progress made over the past couple of years in South Africa, and those can certainly be shared with the rest of the world, especially as EPR compliance becomes increasingly relevant or mandatory in other countries or other regions, and we see that that is the case. So at BanQu, we've already begun expanding to other regions. Like, for example, we work with Dow Chemicals in Colombia, for example, and other areas can really learn that formalizing this informal sector not only benefits society, but also enables business growth and risk mitigation at the same time. So it's this real self-fulfilling process, and extremely positive for all stakeholders. And I think the more we roll it out and the more we evolve in South Africa, the more other regions can learn from what we're doing. Those two case studies that we've referenced earlier, as well as the Dow Chemicals use case in Colombia, can really be used as really good indicators in terms of how and what can be done in the space globally. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, no, that was perfect. Thank you. I learned so much. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you
Sure.
everyone for hopping on and watching. We hope that you were able to take something away. And as mentioned, we'll send out those resources that we were talking about, and also be sending out the recording to this so you can go back and watch it again if you would like. So as always, please reach out to the BanQu team if you have any further questions, and have a great day, everyone. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Ash.
See you
Sure
guys.
thing. Cheers.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.